Hi everyone, I'm Nolly Fen, and in this video we're going to start the story of A Realm Reborn. As mentioned in the previous video, the beginning of the story will start with one of 3 separate paths, each focusing on a different city-state. In this video, we'll see the Limsa Lominsa path. So, let's hop right into it.
Here. Feel. Hear, feel, think.
We wake up below deck, on a ship. A fellow passenger, a merchant named Brennan, wakes you up. He's worried because you were muttering in your sleep and sweating up a storm. Recognizing you as a new adventurer, he invites you to keep him company for a bit, because the other passengers, a pair of twins, aren't up for conversation. Unfortunately, shortly after you come up on deck for a breath of fresh air, the ship comes under attack from pirates. For our safety, we're urged to retreat back to the hold for the time being. And so we wait out the pirate attack until we're told that the ship managed to shake them off. Recognizing that this is our first time visiting Limsa Lominsa, our merchant friend gives us a quick overview of the place. Limsa Lominsa is Eorzea's foremost naval power. It used to be ruled by pirates, and the current admiral, herself a former pirate, has made great efforts to civilize Limsa Lominsa and turn it into a respectable nation. Naturally, a good number of former pirates aren't happy about this, so trouble is brewing inside the nation, while outside, the Sahagan beast tribe are frequently raiding the coastline. Once Brennan finishes filling us in on the current state of affairs in Limsa Lominsa, we arrive.
On a windswept isle in the southwestern corner of the realm, amidst the roiling waves of the Rotano Sea, lies the maritime city-state of Limsa Lominsa. To this haven for bandits and brigands, cutthroats and curs, seekers of both freedom and fortune, comes a lone adventurer. Alone yet not alone, for the hero's arrival has drawn the gaze of the nation's patron deity, Lim Lane. What realm-shaking fate has she descried in the churning waters of this mortal's future?
As we part ways, Brennan encourages us to become a famous adventurer that he can brag about having met.
Through peril and hardship, discovery and triumph, may the navigator guide this brave soul on her life's voyage. Till sea swallows all.
At long last, we enter Limsa Lominsa for the first time. We enjoy the sights of our new home for just a moment before we're interrupted. A guard identifies us as a newcomer, and we're told that we should head to the Adventurers Guild right away, and that we need to register ourselves there before we do anything else. Upon entering the Adventurers Guild, we meet the proprietor of the local guild, Badaran Tenfingers. There, we learn much the same as what Brennan told us, but we also learn something intriguing. The calamity is still fresh in everyone's minds, even though it happened 5 years ago. But, oddly, even though there were several adventurers who sacrificed their lives while trying to save the realm, nobody can remember what those adventurers looked like, or what their names were. Anytime they try, it's as if a bright light obscures the warriors' faces in their mind's eye. Because of this, these lost adventurers have come to be known as the Warriors of Light. After encouraging us to check out and attune to the nearby Aetherite, a giant crystal which acts as a teleportation beacon, Badaran sends us off on our way, encouraging us to take the time to help passerby in need of assistance to help build our reputation as an adventurer. It quickly becomes apparent that everyone's on edge because of an unusually large amount of people who've gone missing over the course of the last few moons. The authorities, suspecting it to be kidnapping, are especially suspicious of newcomers and outsiders, and even accuse us of being part of the conspiracy when we first meet with Badaran. As we explore Limsa Lominsa, we meet a few people worth noting here. Captain Carvalan, leader of the Kraken's Arms, a group of former pirates who have the Admiral's blessing to freely raid Garlean ships. Captain Roswin of the Savage Sirens, an all-female group of former pirates who compete with the Kraken's Arms in pillaging Garlean ships. The Assessors of Melvin's Gate, who oversee the taxation of imported goods. Naldik and Vimelis, the foremost shipwrights of Limsa Lominsa. The Culinarians of the Bismarck, a famous restaurant that's known across all of Eorzea. The Yellow Jackets, keepers of the peace for Limsa Lominsa and the surrounding region of Lenosha. Once we're somewhat familiar with the layout of Limsa Lominsa, we receive a request to help out at the Red Rooster Stead, a farm located at the lower part of Lenosha, which is well known for experimenting with untested growing methods and exotic crops. Between helping out with the flocks of sheeps and dodos, or exterminating pests, or even helping one farmer develop a rudimentary sort of pesticide, we also make our way to a group of windmills known as the Grey Fleet, which use the constant southerly winds coming from the nearby Strait of Merylthor to power the region's windmills. While recovering some flour stolen by Galagos, we discover that some kobolds have intruded in the Lenosian lowlands. The kobolds have a treaty with Limsa Lominsa that limits their reach to the mountainous region of Outer Lenosia. So by coming all the way down here, they are in flagrant violation of the treaty. A group of them even waylaid a merchant inbound with supplies, and we end up fending them off. Anayak, the leader of the Red Rooster Stead farmers, has had enough. So he asks us to help him lay out a trap for the kobolds, to teach them a lesson. At the nearby Blind Iron Mines, we lay out fresh dodo meat right in the open, and then ambush the kobolds once they take the bait. After this surprise attack, Anayak is confident the kobolds will stay away from the time being. But he's also sure that they will return in due course, so he asks us to take a report to Bateron, who in turn will use his sway to convince the Yellow Jackets to offer some protection to the Red Rooster Stead. Bateron warns us that the kobolds are likely hoarding crystals to summon their god, Titan, and that last time Titan was summoned, there was a company of heroes who came to the rescue. Unfortunately, they've since disbanded and gone their separate ways. Bateron now bids us go to Summerford Farms, an orange orchard located in Middle Lenosia. Bateron admits that farming has actually been quite a challenge for the Lominsans, as the calamity ruined the fertile soil of Lenosia. So only recently are the Lominsans finally seeing results from all of their hard work. Summerford Farms is manned by a group of mostly reformed pirates. Stalwern, the owner of Summerford Farms, is eager for our help. Unfortunately, some of his former pirate crew resent him for accepting the Admiral's initiative to turn from pirate to farmer, and a few are even giving him and the other workers trouble. But Stalwern isn't asking for our help to rein them in. Rather, he thinks he might have a lead on the spate of kidnappings. He's seen unsavory men with blue-tattooed faces spying on his workers from a distance. Naturally, his crew are on edge, suspecting them to be the kidnappers on the prowl, and their work is suffering because of it. Stalwern has heard rumors that the tattooed men may be occupying the Seasom Grotto, a nearby cave that's home to a stone monument known as the Sailor's Requiem. Upon entering the grotto, we find it empty. But while examining the monument, a voice sounds behind us.
I am the waves that bear. I am the winds that guide. I am the evening stars. I am the morning sky. I am born of the sea, and there shall I die. Thus reads the Sailor's Requiem, carved into yonder stone. Ah, you are the adventurer I've seen around Summerford Farms. I thought myself on the trail of the kidnappers, but it would seem I have missed my mark. Or perhaps not. As I suspected, the etheric disturbance here is no natural occurrence.
As we fight the rampaging Gubu, two smaller Gubus join in on the fray. But we manage to pull through.
Phew!
After fending off the attack, we notice a stray water crystal on the ground. As if Calling to us, it floats off the ground into our hands. We find ourselves on a completely different plane of existence, as our newly acquired water crystal bursts with light.
Hear, feel, think.
Then, we find ourselves witnessing some sort of meteor shower. Before we can ponder over what we're seeing, a familiar voice calls out to us.
Crystal bearer. I am Hydaelyn, all made one. A light there once was that shone throughout this realm, yet it hath since grown dim. And as it hath faltered, so hath darkness risen up in its stead, presaging an end to life. For the sake of all, I beseech thee, deliver us from this fate. The power to banish the darkness dwelleth in the crystals of light. Journey forth and lay claim to them. By thy deeds shall the crystals reveal themselves to thee. Only believe, for the light liveth in thy heart. Go now, my child, and shine thy light on all creation.
Aha! The poor creature's fury was kindled with cruel forethought. See this blade? I found it in the Gubu's back. I have seen knives of this kind before. They are most commonly used for the cutting of rope. It would appear our culprits are seafaring men of some persuasion. Piratical being the most probable. In any event, you seem much recovered from your sudden affliction.
We tell her about the towering crystal we saw.
Well, well, this has been a day of unexpected revelations. I suggest you deliver this knife to your patron, along with a warning concerning the pirate's probable involvement in this murky business. May our paths cross again, under the light of the crystal.
Stalwern suspects that the pirates may be hoping to lure his men back to a life of plunder. Upon mentioning the Mikote conjurer who came to our aid, Stalwern identifies her as Y'shtola, a scholar who has been studying the ether in the local area, someone he sees in the area fairly often. Stalwern asks us to round up his workers, as they're currently slacking off, especially Severin, who seems to be the worst of the bunch. Upon talking to his men, it's clear that they sorely miss the good old days of pillaging. Severin, in particular, seems to hold his former captain in disdain, and us for being his lackey. While the other workers begrudgingly come back to see what Stalwern wants of them, Severin outright refuses and tells us to get lost. As it turns out, Stalwern has a soft spot for Severin, despite his defiance, because he reminds Stalwern of himself as a lad. Stalburn tells us that Severin has been conducting shady deals with the nearby goblins behind his back. At his request, we try to catch him in the act. As it turns out, the deal ended up going wrong. Stalburn's other men were captured by the goblins, and Severin ran away. So it falls to us to rescue them. After the goblin incident, it seems as though Stalburn's men have learned their lesson, and the farm remains peaceful for a while, as we help out with a few chores here and there. Unfortunately, it seems as though Severin is still up to no good. Stalburn informs us that Severin recently received a letter. Ever since, he's been on edge. Just a few minutes ago, he left the farm without warning, and took some of his mates with him. Stalburn worries that Severin may have gotten himself into more trouble than he can handle. So he asks us to go find him, and see that everyone returns safely. We follow Severin's trail to Woadwhisper Canyon, where one of his mates stumbles upon us, having just escaped from a trap Severin set for them. Upon reaching the innermost part of the canyon trail, we find Severin being kicked around by a man with a blue tattoo on his face. Apparently, they were coercing him to betray his mates to them, but he had a last-second change of heart. As we prepare to defend Severin, the leader of the group gives a signal to a hidden masked mage, who chants a golem into existence to stand against us. Our skill as an adventurer is put to the test during this battle, and we manage to defeat the golem, much to the masked mage's disbelief. As they flee, they remark that we are no ordinary adventurer. Just then, Y'shtola comes running over, apparently in pursuit of that masked mage. No sooner does she express relief that we're unharmed than our head begins to pound, and everything goes black. In some sort of vision, we see Y'shtola spying on a group of suspicious men, whose faction she doesn't recognize. Thinking they may have something to do with the recent re-emergence of the kobolds and Sahagin, she suspects that the beast tribes may be planning to summon their gods, or primals. Suddenly, the scene changes, and she's looking out at the sea. We see a giant red structure in the sky, which she refers to as the Lesser Moon, Dalamud. Given that Dalamud fell during the calamity, we're apparently seeing Y'shtola's past. Once again, the scene changes, and Y'shtola's wearing the mysterious goggles she previously had hanging around her neck. The goggles, created in Sharlayan, give her the ability to see ether. She detects a disturbance in the etheric flow and narrows it down to Sea Sown Grotto. At once, she rushes off, and everything goes black once more. Regaining consciousness, we find Y'shtola tending to Severin. She informs us the pirates we're dealing with are minions of the Sahagin beast tribe. Y'shtola properly introduces herself to us, and Severin offers us his genuine gratitude for saving his life. Upon returning, Severin admits all to Stalburn. Severin was once a serpent reaver. Apparently, they weren't always thralls of the Sahagin. Severin had just taken his oath to join when the captain bent the knee to them. He escaped, changed his name, and got a new home at Summerford Farms. Unfortunately, after a few years, the Reavers finally managed to locate him. The penalty for desertion is death, but they offered him freedom in exchange for his mates. Despite his fear, when it finally came down to it, he couldn't bring himself to go through with it, and offered his life in their stead. Now, Severin is going to turn himself in to the Yellow Jackets. Stalwern promises that there will always be a place at Summerford Farms for him in the future. After this tearful parting, Stalwern asks us to bring word to Baderon about what happened. He hopes Baderon can put in a good word for Severin as well. Thankfully, Baderon assures us that the Yellow Jacket who hands out sentences is a good mate of his, and he can likely get Severin's sentence commuted. Granting us free room and board at the Mizzenmast Inn, Baderon recommends that we take a good rest. And rest we shall, for we've reached the end of this video. I was hoping to fit the entire Limsa storyline into one video, but the cutscenes were longer than I remembered. So we'll see the second half of the Limsa story in the next video. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.